From the heartbeat of the Republic, this is the PAWA podcast. Be powerful. Bringing you independent voices, expert opinion, driving change.
Hello and welcome to PAWA Pod, the Mjue MCA Wako, or rather Mjue Kiongozi Wako series. We are in episode 5. The series focuses on governance. Specifically, we are interrogating young MCAs who are aspiring to get into leadership. And with us today, we have none other than Habib Omar, aka Daniel Mala, or which is which. Karibu sana.
Asante sana. So actually my name is Mala Daniel Odhiambo. That is the official name. Aka Habib Omar. Kijana wa mtaa, kijana na kazi.
Why the switch? Because I can see one is Christian, the other one is I think Islam. Yeah.
No, it's just a nickname.
Okay. Which one do you prefer?
Habib is a darling to everyone, so I'm a darling to everyone.
What about Daniel?
Daniel is the official name.
Okay.
Ile serikali najua. So wana kwetu wananiita Habib Omar, serikali inanijua kama Mala Daniel Odhiambo.
So did you pick the name due to these because you are running, or it has always been there?
Actually, right now, the focus, I'm also having a problem because majority of the people know me as a Habib Omar. But now when it comes to election and all that, the particulars in the ID is Mala Daniel Odhiambo, and those are the official names that will be used at the ballot box. So for us to be able to make those changes, there was a very tedious process because I had to change the particular in IDs, which I could not be able to change at that moment. Yeah.
So apart from the names, tell us something about you. And for your information, he's running for Kariobangi North MCA seat, right? So tell us something interesting about you and also everything about you that you need to know for this session.
Okay. Mala Daniel Odhiambo, the incoming MCA Kariobangi North Ward, is I wear so many caps within the community, but I'm a community organizer, I'm a human rights defender, I'm a youth advocate, I'm a mentor. You call them, name them, I have a lot of titles within the community, but I'm passionate about issues to do with leadership, governance, social justice, and matters young people. So I coordinate a human rights-based community organization called Kariobangi Social Justice Center that was formed in 2019 by like-minded young people. We were tired of complaining because of the issues, the injustices happening within the community level. So basically we came together. More of the Justice Center, the first Justice Center that was formed is Madare Social Justice Center, and was formed as a result of rampant killing of young people within the informal settlement. So we wanted to address these issues and be able also to give the community a voice to come out and agitate and talk about their rights. So after Madare Social Justice Center, then came Dandora. So initially it was part and parcel of Dandora Community Justice Center. After that, now I went back home to Kariobangi, where I reside, and we formed Kariobangi Social Justice Center. So basically our work entailed enhancing access to justice, promoting human rights, but of most important, standing for the rights of marginalized people within the community. But to also to be able to, because we envision an inclusive, peaceful, and just society where our rights and dignity is upheld and respected. But for us to be able to achieve this, we carry out our activities based on various pillars.
Okay.
So there's pillar that deal with right to life and dignity campaign, which entails issues of police brutality and us as human being living a very dignified life. So the pillar also that deal with sexual and gender-based violence and issues matters children. We also do sexual and reproductive health, where we go to educate and mentor young people within the school, as we also provide sanitary towels. But most important is how do we advocate for easy access to these menstrual hygiene products.
Okay.
That is where our major focus is. We also do social accountability in terms of how do we hold the duty bearers accountable, how do we ensure that the community are much aware of the happenings within the community level. And we also use art as a tool for social advocacy.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is just a nutshell of what we
Is it
do.
a nutshell?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is not a lot. That is what actually we do, because we are just doing our little part to make
Yeah.
the society better. So the work that we do is on a voluntary basis, and because we are tired of complaining, but we want to see change within the community. So what do we do? How do we bring this change? We need to take part in bringing this change. So as I've said, I wear so many caps within the community. There are
Yeah,
people
you
who
do.
know me like CHV community health volunteer. There are people who know me as LAC member because I advocate for the right of children. But as for me, I call myself a leader without a title, because leadership to me is not about titles and position that we hold,
Yeah.
but how does my life become of value to other people, and how
In
do
whatever capacity.
and how do I take change, be part of the change that I want to see. Yeah, I don't need to be wait to be called so and so
Yeah.
or mheshimiwa or what blah blah for me to take action. But as long as there's something that is not going right within the community, how do I take that action frontline, organize and rally the community around it, so that we can steer our way towards change that we want to see.
Well, that you're doing a lot for your community. And just to ask, were you born and bred in Kariobangi, or you found yourself there after maybe ukihustle?
No, I was born and bred in Kariobangi. And actually what inspired me and what also actually encouraged me to do this thing is that when you go to Kariobangi, I live in a place called Darfur. I can proudly mention that because there were times you could not talk and say you're coming from Darfur.
Why?
That name came after as a result. You know, the Darfur in Sudan is known for the violence and all that. So the name came after the 2007, 2008 violence. And the place is known for the bad things, crime, prostitution, drugs, all those things. So I was so much disturbed with the way we were losing young people, because there's a gap in between. There's that generation gap between people my age. Some of them were killed. Yeah, actually. And I felt there was nobody, because I remember at a time, it reaches a point, it's funny enough, I'm vying, but there were times that I really disassociate myself from issues of politics because of the violence and the things you could be able to see within the community when young people could scramble for as low as 200 shillings and stabbing one another to death because of this.
So were the killings due to or towards each other, from one another, or from this from police brutality?
Both. When it comes to the issues of politics, because the leaders who need to take responsibility and guide these young people and provide them with opportunity, but they are not doing that. They were just using them during political election period. But now there was also that element of young people engaging into crime, and most of them could be, they call it mob justice, but to me it is mob injustice. And also that element of extrajudicial execution of young people. So I wanted to be the change that I want to see. And I think back in 2014, there's a lady called Salima Njoki. She's one of she came for a civic education. And I think she's one person who inspired me. And I can tracing my journey to activism and human rights thing and community organizing, I can trace it back to her, because she gave me two tools. My first copy of the Constitution and County Government Act Volume 1 and 2. These are the powerful tools that enlightened me and did open my mind for me to be able to realize how the systems and things governs, knowing my right, and now taking that initiative.
That was back in 2014.
2014, yeah. So definitely that is where I started forming a group, bringing young people together. We formed a Full Sisi kwa Sisi Young group. And through that, I think we were able to do so many things that also other young people got an opportunity to go back to school, go back to TV trainings and gain so many skills.
Okay.
So from there is where now we started organizing and doing community work.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So would you say that is what inspired you to say enough is enough? I need to be part of the voice, not only the voice, but I need to be where the decisions are being made.
Beyond even that, I believe my purpose and my call in life is of being service to other people. But beyond the broken system of governance and the way things are not working, because for a very long time, with that background of community organizing, we have been on the street agitating, presenting petitions, informing policies, but there is little you can do when you are outside. When it comes to implementation bit of it, what we lack is that political goodwill of our leaders to be able to work for the people. So there has not been that sustainable change that we desire to see. So we feel when we go at the decision-making table where we can be able to inform policies, because even if you look at this country, we have good policies in papers, but when it comes to implementation is where the problem lies. So how do we people who understand the issues affecting the community, who have the heart of that service, how do we go to those positions and be able to grab that power, sit at the decision-making table, inform policies, do budget allocation that will go forth in terms of addressing the issues affecting the people.
Okay. You've mentioned that we lack political goodwill, and yet we have the Constitution, specifically Chapter 6, which speaks on leadership and integrity. You also mentioned that some of these things that were happening in your locality, it was due to lack of good leadership. What is your take on integrity and leadership, even as you aspire, even as you want to get into the seat?
Actually, allow me, because right now we're having a conversation around the element of degrees, as if that is a qualification for one to be a good leader. To me, I see it as much as education is good and we must pursue education. But beyond that, what is it that we are bringing on board? To me, it is beyond, yes, we have Chapter 6 of the Constitution, which has been disregarded. Even as you look at, as we are going to this election, the people with questionable characters, but they're still vying in various positions. The people who have looted this country, they've been involved in any kind of corruption. But they're still vying. They've been given that go-ahead green light to vie. So we disregard the rule of law. But I also still think and believe it is upon people, because I believe in competency and character of an individual. That is the things that I look within a leader. But in a scenario where we lack competency, I'll be able to go for the character, because competency is something that you can learn along the way. But character, you cannot be able. Character is all, what are your values? Because there is nothing like good values. We only have values. When it becomes something beyond that, it becomes a vice. So it depends with the values. Are you a person of integrity? Are you a person who is able? One, are you able to, do you have the heart of service to the people? Are you in a better position to put the interest of the people first? Are you better in a position to respect that office that you're holding as a leader? Are you able to live to the values? Because when you look also, is it Article 10 that's talk about the principles of governance? Because most of the time when we talk about social justice, even the community do not even understand what social justice is. They see us as some people who have come up with their own thing talking about social justice. But these are the principles of governance. Our leaders able to ensure that they embrace the principles of governance, the social justice, being fair, being in a position to distribute resources equitably to the people without nepotism, because we are being served. There's a lot of discrimination. People, especially young people, women, people with disability, but also beyond that, it reaches a point where, and that is why also so many people are scrambling for power, because for you to get service delivery, it depends on who is in power. Is it a person from your tribal or ethnic group? Is it a person from your political party of affiliation? That will determine if you'll get service into this country. But that is not what we want. That is not the reality of how things should be. It should be different. We should be able to serve the community and the people we lead fairly. With integrity. Yeah. And we must also uphold and respect the rule of law. Because Constitution, nobody's above the Constitution, whether the president or the common mwananchi, but it's much different. And in some scenario, and I also tend to think because leaders tend to be mini gods that need to be worshipped and all that. But position of leadership is a position of service. Are you a servant leader? Because that you also need to be able to demonstrate it very clearly. Yeah.
Okay. So you uphold integrity and leadership.
Yeah, I believe in terms of, that is what I believe in terms of also when it comes to, be it any selection, or whatever that you're going to do within your office, you must be able to put all the element, do it in a fair way where everybody voices can be heard, can be counted. And you also need to be, there's also that element. How do we avoid the element of conflict of interest, where you there's a lot of nepotism bit of it, discrimination, and offering services or putting the elites, those people, because right now, yes, we have a campaign team. You have a team that you are campaigning with. So does it mean once we get into power, the first people we are going to consider people around us, or are we going to serve people equally based on their needs? Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So how would you rate our current leaders in terms of leadership and integrity? Say 1 to 5.
In a scale of 1 to 5, maybe I can be able to say 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to feel like you have to.
No.
You can say it's a negative.
It's just, I feel 1, because as much as we have leaders who put their interest, discard the rule of law, even the president, how many court judgment have been disregarded? We have also seen people abusing their offices. So there's a little to admire about the current leadership. And I think that is why we are here as young people, to be able to bring kind of leadership to us, to me, and also to other people, other young people, progressive ones. We believe in value leadership.
No, my concern is we have Habib Omar, who is determined to be integral. But sometimes we see young people who get into these positions with such promises. I'll be different. I'll be true to you. But when they get into the system, it's like the system chokes them up. So how are you planning to maneuver around those aspects of the system is already biased, quote unquote, on the same?
Okay. One, I think all this, understand the element, because also that is the challenge we're having on the ground. When we are going to sell the policies, meet the people, discuss the issues with them. They're telling us, yes, you're coming, you're very nice, you're talking nice to us, but now, once you get into this power, you're going to change. You'll just be the same like others. So the problem comes in, how do we become different from others? All these things are systematically structured in a way that, because I know most of politicians want the status quo to remain the same. So after every 5 years, they come and manipulate us, because you cannot be able to manipulate an empowered person.
True.
But also, Thomas Sankara once said, a soldier without ideologies is a potential criminal. So as much as I'm very competent enough, I'm saying good policies and people believe in me, what are my ideologies? What are my values? That is where we draw line. Because we focus most of the time, also Kenyans, they focus so much on the competency rather than looking on the character. And that is why the MCA is somebody, if for you to elect a member of county assembly, you need somebody who you know very well, somebody who have been living with you there, somebody is very conversant with your issues, somebody that you know their character, that you can be able to determine. So as much as they're telling you this, it is, you can be able to relate and reflect and say, indeed, whatever you are saying, we have been with you here and we believe you can be able to do this. But as much as the system is rotten, and once we get there, if you don't align to that, you become now the enemy. I think the likes, Ken Okoth is a good example, the late Ken Okoth. As much as there was that, the status quo, the normal status quo and the euphoria, you get into the system and you're aligned by how the systems operate. It was much different. And this thing depends with an individual. Indeed, do you have that heart of service? What do you stand for? Do you stand for something that you're willing to die for? Because, and that is what makes us also different, because as an activist, whatever we are doing today, nobody is paying us. But this is a cause we are willing to die for, because we believe we cannot continue living this way. There's also that need for change. So this is one thing that makes us also different as people. And then secondly, I've been here for that long, for more than 8 years, volunteering, doing community work. I can decide to be a wrong person within that community right now because I feel I have a name. So I can be misusing that to my advantage. But because we will have the interest of the people and we're putting, the reason why we are doing this is because we have the interest of our community at heart. You cannot risk your life being looked down and chased away by the police all the time if you don't have the interest of the people at heart.
Yeah.
Because it reaches a point where you become the enemy of the people. It reaches a point where I was an enemy of the police, DO, chief, and key community leaders, because most of the time these people are the oppressors. You want to talk about issue of water, the cartels, they'll come for you, because these people also work with the system. You want to talk about the issue of land grabbing. So if suppose we never had that heart of service and we never wanted to see the change within the community, we could have given up and do other things.
But now with the MCA, there's this analogy that comes with money. With being an activist, yes, there's money, but ukishaingia pale as an MCA, there are chums. So
as much as
sometimes chums, money can corrupt you as much as you want.
It depends.
I'm not saying you'll do that, but that's
whatever you are, that is the reality. We cannot bury our heads into the reality, because that is the reality, and in fact it's true. Many people get elected and they end up changing. But I'm still believe that it depends with an individual personality.
Okay.
What are your virtues, the virtues, the ideologies? What is that thing that you hold into, that you believe in, that at the end of the day, because like me, I'm vying as an independent candidate. I owe my allegiance to the people. The 500 people, or let me just say the more than 1,000 people that gave me their photocopies of ID, I owe them their allegiance. So I'll be able to work. They can be easily accessed, because the problem also comes when you are elected on a political party, because you cannot go contrary to what your bosses say. Because also in Kenya, I'm sorry to say so, we don't have political parties. We have people own controlling them, because a political party, at the center of it all must be the people, and the people must have a say. But that is not the case in various political parties. And also in terms of ideologies of the political parties, yes, within the paper they exist, but in terms of practicability of all this is not there.
And do you think the citizens are per se contributing to the situation on integrity and all to do to the failure in leadership, or they are victims? Are they victims? Because you said the communities are not empowered, and some of these leaders make sure that the communities are not aware of some of these things that are in the constitutions and their rights. Are they victims, ama ni wao wanalalia masikio?
One, it depends. It can be they are the victims, or in terms of they're also one way the perpetrators. It depends on which angle you're looking into. Because one, I can tell you, we have been doing community organizing, educating the community about their rights. And within those setups, you could feel that urgent need of change. But now, later on now, as things goes by, people started going back to their political cocoons, tribe, all those. But in also one way or another, this is by design. Because right now with COVID-19, many people lost job, many people are struggling with the high cost of living. So they're also depending on these politicians for something to eat at the end of the day and to take home. So definitely you are living at the mercy of. But when you also look at, as you look at it is by design, because also the system itself do not want to an empowered mwananchi. They want the status quo to remain the same. So definitely never get empowered. And then you live at the mercy. So they control you. For them to be able to control you, they must at the same time do what? Ensure that you live a very hopeless life. So that at any given point, they want you. Because that is why when you see somebody vying as a governor, or either senator or women rep, they'll go at the Eastland side. Why? Why don't
they're needy?
Yeah, that is most time where they compete, they do their campaigns and they look for young people. Because that is where the ready market is. They'll never go to Kileleshwa, Taiga, or anywhere.
Because you can't buy someone from such areas with
that person
200
is busy,
shillings.
Busy. Look at how our rallies, jana kulikuwa na rally. Look, it tells you the rate of unemployment in this country. People are not working. People do not have jobs. People are very disparate. And in terms of, right now, I'm telling you, young people are going to those rallies just to steal. Yesterday,
steal from the other
they steal
citizens,
from other citizens. In that commotion, umeweka nyanya yako hapo, they come.
That is so sad.
Yesterday, we lost, like literally, around 5 young people died yesterday. The rally. So the element 1, 2 was stoned to death by Wanjiku when they snatched a phone. The other 3 were run over by the vehicle because once they were scrambling for money. There was money that was being thrown in between. So everybody was scrambling for that money.
That is a sad situation.
But
And yet we are told we are the ones with the power.
But at the same time, at one point, yes, you feel like blaming this young person, but you cannot blame this young person. It is the situation that has driven them there.
I feel like it's a two-way.
It's a two-way traffic.
Yeah.
But yes, you look at depending. Such people like me, I cannot be, because I'm informed.
Yeah.
I know what is right. I know what need to be done. I'll not go to that. I'll not engage in that. As much as the situation, regardless of how the situation and life is hard and all that. But somebody who is very desperate and hopeless.
Anaenda kutafuta unga ya mtoto.
Yes, at the end of hata Pampers.
Yeah, I know.
Saa zingine landlord pressure iko. They want money.
Yeah.
So this is the reality within the ground.
And I keep wondering, like, these people who are aspiring, like, wako tu hawasononeki, they're just okay seeing people suffering like that and being so desperate. Sijui kama they derive joy from it, ama they're just ignorant, ama ni heartless, I don't know. But it's a sad situation, and I hope people like you, the likes of you, and any other young person who is running for a seat, a position, will change the narrative, yeah?
Yeah, this is a collective responsibility. And I think that is also the one reason why we organize, because as social justice movement, our mission is to organize, educate, so that the community can be able to liberate themselves.
Yeah.
We are not coming as liberators. And I don't want to lie to you that I'll be liberator. I'm just one person. But how do I spark a mindset that will be able to bring change in this country? How do we educate our people? How do we enlighten them? How do we inform them? How do we make them aware of their rights and what need to be done so that they can be able to take that action? So it's a process. Also, as being in these leadership positions, we are going for this seat because we are tired. Sitting at the fences, looking at the things while complaining. So this is our time to not to agonize, but to organize ourselves and go for this leadership position and be able to make the right decision and bring that desired change that people want to see. But all in all, I still urge Kenyans, despite, because for these 5 years we've been crying. So hii njaa ya 1 month isitufanye tukue so much disparate. But as much as yes, there is that need that people will go for those handouts. Can we go for handouts as we go for them? But at the end of the ballot box on 9th August, we can be able to make the right decision. That we can be able to arm ourselves with our voter card and a mind of change. That definitely we want to bring that change. Yeah, that today I can go, whether I'm in ODM, whether I'm in Jubilee, whether I'm in UDA, but if that leader that I was given within that setup of that political party that I subscribe to is not the leader that I want, I can still go outside and make that right decision. That is where the problem lies. We vote for 3 reasons. On the basis of political affiliation, tribe, and the element of now the handouts. So how do we demystify this? How do we break the chain? Because change comes with a price tag that we must all be willing to pay. Some of us, we are just commanders leading the troop, but are the troop ready to pay the price tag? That is the question.
So as we come close to the end of part 1, could you kindly tell us what is your leadership philosophy? Or what is your style of leadership?
So to me, one, I believe in transformative leadership. I believe in value-based leadership, because what we lack in this country is the values. So that is where we need to start. Because if we don't elect leaders of integrity, leaders who are competent, leaders who are transparent, leaders who have that heart of service to the people, we are going also still to miss the point. So I believe in social justice. I believe in equity. I believe in fairness. I believe in what is right for the people. I believe also in the power of the people. So for me, it's about leadership of the people, for the people, by the people. People taking that initiative. Because in all this discussion, people have been missing, be it within the political parties, people are missing. Be it the discussion table to discuss the issues of the people, they're missing.
They go and prescribe problems for them instead of them telling the problems.
So it is just by design, but it is also time for us to wake up and embrace. This is the time. My slogan is Wakati ni sasa. So there is not any other time for us to go and bring that desired change.
Because actually, if you look around, things are so bad. And it's now or never.
Yeah, it is now or never.
Yeah, true. Do you have anyone who you look up to in terms of leadership locally?
Locally, I still have. I used to admire the way the late Ken Okoth used to lead.
What specifically about him? One thing.
One thing about he was very authentic.
Okay.
Authentic, yes, just being authentic, real and true, regardless of the circumstance and the situation. And that is what I stick to. How do I remain authentic in all this? Because there is transition. How do I transit from a community organizer, a human rights defender, to a politician? Bearing in mind the definition of a politician in Kenya, because to Kenyans, a politician is somebody who lies, somebody who kills, somebody
is not available.
Somebody is not available, somebody who would wink you. They lie to you, knowing very well that I'm lying to you, just to get your vote, and at the end of the day, forget about you. So in all this, how do I remain a leader? How do I remain authentic? How do I bring transformative leadership? How do we entrench values, value-based leadership in our systems of governance and structures? That is what is great importance. And with that, hata mkichagua mwizi, and also Kenyans need to wake up to a point where hata ukichagua mwizi, unajua hii simu saizi ikiwekwa hapa, and we are here, nobody can come to steal it. But when we don't put the government in check, because at the end of the day, Kenyans are going to election on 9th August. Their responsibility do not end at the ballot box. This is somebody.
It's a continuous process.
Continuous process. You must be alert and awake to the issues affecting you, and understand how your money is being used.
But I also feel like the way you mentioned, Kenyans are so preoccupied with their problems and issues. So it's a bit difficult to keep up with whatever is going on. But I believe you'll change the narrative.
And more of it is also not that they're so much occupied, is who is giving the information. Because also as who are organizing the masses, we are being targeted by the leaders themselves, even by the government, and also by the police and the community. There's a lot of also horizontal violence within the community.
We'll talk about that. Thank you so much, Habib, Omar. Thank you also to our listeners for tuning in. I've been your host, Angeline Gitonga.
Asante sana.
From the heartbeat of the Republic, this is the PAWA Podcast. Be powerful.